Hey guys, so I just got done watching Dragon Ball Super episode 80, and I haven't talked about Dragon Ball Super in a while. I used to talk about it a lot, and then I got really busy with technology and the Switch and PlayStation, all this other stuff, but I always watch Dragon Ball pretty much every week. Of course, after the initial bit with Goku Black and Zamasu and everything that ended, it went to filler. I kind of stopped recording for it or kind of fell out of it a little bit because other stuff came up, but this new arc that they're doing has me actually really interested in Dragon Ball Super again, and I watched the episode tonight that just aired on YouTube, and it was really good. So if you missed last week's episode, I would check that out first, and then this episode, especially if you fell out of Dragon Ball Super, you can pretty much go back to last week's episode and start right from there, because it's pretty much a new arc, and it almost feels like you don't have to really watch before for Dragon Ball Super and catch up here. So what we actually have right now is they are in an exhibition, a couple of exhibition matches with another universe, it's Universe 9. Now you'll notice that a lot of the people from Universe 9 look like wolves, because they are. They're kind of set up as basically the fighters of Universe 9, and it's pretty cool because so far they've all had different powers. Again, check out last week's episode. It actually had Majin Buu fighting. Remember, in the previous tournament, he was left out. I don't think the writers really wanted to mess with how his magic and his regen and everything would affect the tournament. These are exhibition matches. I think they were a little more, I guess, lax to bring him in and show off his abilities there. But let's get into episode 80, which actually brought back Gohan, and that was really exciting for me. When I saw this, I got really excited. I was like, awesome, they're going to bring in Gohan, and he is going to actually fight, because if you've been following Dragon Ball Super even a little bit, Gohan has been really left on the sidelines for a good bit of it, and that's mostly because he is technically a dad now, so he's left out of a lot of the fighting. He doesn't really train much. He has to go to work to bring in money for his family, obviously, and he's an accomplished scholar and everything, so there's really not any reason for him to fight. But fans really like Gohan, so obviously they've probably been pushing this entire time to bring him back in. So now we get to episode 80, and Gohan actually gets back in the fighting ring here. So we start the episode with Gohan, and Lavender is the Universe 9 fighter, and he's best known apparently for poisoning his opponent. Now what he does right away is he poisons Gohan and actually blinds him, like right away pretty much. They barely fight, he blinds him. And from there, it's up to Gohan to figure out how to fight him. In this case, he ends up using the rest of his senses, kind of similar to how way back in Dragon Ball, it's almost a callback to when Popo taught Goku how to sense his opponent and fight by using vibrations in the air and everything. You could tell that Gohan starts to realize that he can still sense Lavender running around by using his heightened other abilities since he's now blinded. So it's figured out pretty quickly. Lavender starts realizing that he's getting beaten up pretty good on the ground because he's running around, so he takes to the air. Gohan realizes it's harder to detect him when he's in the air, so at this point, Lavender just lights him up with a ton of what I assume to be like poisonous ki blasts almost. It's hitting him pretty good, and at that point, Gohan becomes a Super Saiyan, this was a little off to me because I kind of missed the Mystic, I guess you call it Mystic Gohan or Ultimate Gohan, where he would not have to go Super Saiyan. He would fight in his, almost like his base, but obviously a very enhanced base, and it was said back then that he was not needed. You don't need to go Super Saiyan if you become that ultimate form. So I assume at this point they've pretty much written off his ultimate form, his Ultimate Gohan, Mystic Gohan, whatever you want to call it, and it's become to the point where back Resurrection F and everything, he went Super Saiyan. I was hoping that was just for the movie, but they worked it into now the actual canon story mode. So I assume they've written that off, and now we're here where Gohan will just continue to go Super Saiyan, and I guess that's fine. It's not a big deal. Super Saiyan did kind of get a buff when the whole series started, with Goku and Vegeta being very strong as a Super Saiyan 1, and then they kind of rolled Super Saiyan 2 and 3 back in for the Trunks saga. So he starts fighting him much more evenly and even winning most times as a Super Saiyan, because it's revealed that he is using his energy to bounce off of Lavender, who is moving around in the air, so that's how he can tell exactly where Lavender is. And still, as Lavender starts to realize this, he knows he's pretty much in trouble with what's happening. And then Whis, of course, points out that Gohan is actually hurting himself here because becoming a Super Saiyan has accelerated the poison moving through his body. This makes sense. Did the same thing with the heart virus back when Goku obviously was sick, so at least that makes sense. That falls in line perfectly well. Whether they meant to write it like that or not, that's actually good writing. It makes sense. So Gohan collapses and reverts back to his base form and just starts getting wailed on by Lavender because the poison is taking effect and he is in trouble. It starts spreading through. Lavender starts blasting more poison at him. You can see Gohan's base form actually start to change. His entire skin complexion starts to change to like this bluish color of the poison that is on his eyes, and at this point he's in trouble. So he takes one last shot at it, becomes a Super Saiyan, hits him with a Ki Blast. They both start battling in the air, explodes on Gohan's end, but he comes through, puts him in almost like a full Nelson choke basically, and then does what appears to be a seismic toss from Pokemon straight into the ground, ending the match in a tie. I do like how at the end they do have Gohan stand up and say "I win" before falling back down. That was a cool little touch, but it still ends in a tie. And really it's expected, because if this was going to continue, these are exhibition matches, and if it was going to be a 2-0, there would be no point in having Goku fight at all. I mean, there really kind of isn't anyway, because it's an exhibition match, especially after the announcement that came next. So what is probably the most sadistic character in all of Dragon Ball Super is the cute little Xeno character. And it doesn't make any sense, but he does not want, or he thinks there are too many universes out there right now. So he was just going to wipe like half of them, actually more than half of them, just off the plane of existence, just erase them completely. And he is so moved at this point by how well these mortals are fighting each other that he's going to give the universes that are below the top ones a chance. So there's, I think they said 4 or 5. It might be lost in translation, but there's like 4 or 5 universes that are like top tier. He's graded them all, and of course, Universe 7 and Universe 9, the two that are actually fighting right now, are at the bottom. With Universe 7 second from last, Universe 9 at the bottom completely. So the other universes should be technically stronger than the 2 universes fighting right now, which is obviously between Goku and Gohan and Boo fighting the 3 wolves from Universe 9. So what's going to happen now is Xeno's going to let all the other universes who are originally going to just be erased. Like no questions asked apparently, which is weird to think, because I thought Xeno and Goku were such good friends at this point, and Xeno is going to erase the universe that Goku is from, which seems odd. It almost seems like Xeno has that really bad side to him that we haven't seen yet, and that's not a good thing when you have somebody that close to the panic button that has no problem hitting it and just erasing an entire universe, like we saw him do with the Trunks universe, where he just completely blacked out or whited out the entire universe. So it's funny that they do this, that they put such a sadistic mind in this tiny little cute character. But yes, now the universes actually have a purpose to fight for, which is great, because the other tournaments had no purpose. There was nothing there. I think that suffered a little bit in the last tournament. There was no sense of urgency. Now they have it, because if you lose, your entire universe is erased. So this actually could bring some cool moments in the future where somebody loses, like a Universe 9 loses in the tournament, Xeno stands up, and they're all erased. They just disappear. So that kind of gives you that sense of, well, this can't be a friendly fight. You know, we can't just go in there and be like, oh, this is fun, I'm excited, let's fight. No, you need to be like, well, we need to win, or we're not going to exist anymore. Everybody else is gone. Bulma, Chi-Chi, Trunks, everybody, they're all gone. You know, Evadella, everyone's gone if you do not win. So now there is at least a sense of urgency to win, and I think that's going to make the upcoming big universal tournament that much better. So like I said, it ends in a draw. Goku runs down real quick, gives Gohan a Senzu Bean, which depletes all the poison out of his system, maybe gives him like a Zenkai boost, I'm not sure. So maybe Gohan's actually a little stronger now than he was before. But of course, we do finish this exhibition match, which still seems kind of odd. You figure you just hear that news, maybe it's time to go home and train? Because I don't think they're going to start the universal tournament there, because I assume they want their best fighters, like they want Vegeta, obviously, as a part of this. And, you know, throw Yamcha in there. I'm sure he can get pretty far in the tournament. But I feel like there's no point in doing this exhibition match. If you were looking at it from a standpoint of logic, you would just say, okay, we're going to go now, because when you start training. But of course, Goku is going to fight this other guy to try to determine who wins between Universe 7 and Universe 9. There's also a chance that they do not want to be rated lower in Xeno's eyes, so they're going to go ahead and try to win. Now, I'm not really sure how this is going to play out from here because technically, as an exhibition match, Goku does not have to win. He doesn't even have to show his full power, which would be a mistake because they may have to fight Universe 9 again in the future with this Universal Tournament coming up. It might not be a good idea to show like Super Saiyan Blue, for example, to these 3 wolves that will then have to fight it later on possibly, unless they lose to another universe in the tournament. So overall, guys, I like the episode. I like that they brought Gohan to the forefront and showed him as an actual fighter rather than a scholar like we always see him with his glasses and suit on. It was great to see him kind of take the glasses off, jump down into the ring, and start fighting. I hope they continue with this. It seemed like Gohan wants to keep fighting. I hope the writers keep Gohan going on and on. It's going to be tough to write him into being as powerful as, say, a Super Saiyan God or a God character unless they somehow give him Super Saiyan Blue. But if you're Goku at this point and you know you're going to be going up against all these universes going forward, you figure maybe you take Gohan aside and try to work with him to become a Super Saiyan Blue because Vegeta did it without the help of other Saiyans. So at that point, I think even Vegeta would say, yeah, we need to get him as a Super Saiyan God as well. There's also a theory going around that full-blooded Saiyans are the only ones that can achieve that God status. But yes, guys, it's going to do it for tonight. That is our episode 80 rundown, review, whatever you want to call it, but I'm very excited for this tournament coming up. I think it's going to be good. If you're not into Dragon Ball Super at all right now, maybe you fell out of it a while back, or maybe you didn't even get into Dragon Ball Super, you can get in right now before this tournament starts up, and you'll be good. You'll be fine because it looks like they're doing almost like a mild reset here, where they're going to bring all the fighters together, and they're going to have just a really good tournament. I like the tournaments, obviously. There's a lot of fighting, less talking. So yes, good time to jump in, guys. Let me know what you think about the episode with Gohan actually stepping up and being a fighter again. I will see you guys next time.